Hi, welcome to SBR Sports Picks. I'm Peter Loshak. Today is Wednesday, August 10th, and we are back with our old friend, Doug Upstone. We're picking up again with a very popular series that we've been doing for a while now, false favorites and top underdogs. And of course, Doug Upstone's record long-term, as our regular viewers know, has been great, flat out great in this show, going back a bunch of seasons. I don't have your record offhand on me, Doug Upstone, but it's been good every year, basically, right?
Yeah, we've had a lot of success, and overall, even with all picks at cappersmonitor.com in 2013 and 2015, I finished either number one or number two. So it's been strong overall, and these videos support that.
All right, sounds good. Now, one question I have for you. We're going to start with the preseason this year, of course, and our regular viewers will remember in past years that, you would usually start out the year kind of 50-50, and then right around maybe the one-third mark or the halfway mark or somewhere around there, you would really catch fire. You seem to be a lot stronger in the middle and the end of the season. How do you feel about preseason, though? Is that a strength of yours?
Yeah, well, actually, I actually do like the preseason. In fact, I'm one of those people, Peter, years ago, I hated preseason football, but in 2003, I decided to jump in the fray, and I have gone 79-53 since then.
Wow.
So, and real simple principle. I follow primarily what the coaches are doing, either by reading about it or following their track records.
Of course. And so my other question for you is now it's Wednesday. I've made a few preseason bets, but usually I wait, 24 hours game of day, at most 48 hours before kickoff. Do you think at this point we're going to have enough information to recommend some bets?
Unquestionably, the information that's going to happen is already on the internet, or at least the stuff that I'm looking at.
Right.
And the other thing that you don't see a lot of line moves in preseason. I mean, from time to time, if there's some developing story, you'll see it, but otherwise you don't see much.
All right, Doug. Well, segment one, we're going to start with top underdogs preseason week one. Hit us with the first one, Doug Upstone.
Our first one, Peter, as a top underdog is going to be on Jacksonville, which I think has tremendous value as an underdog. Now, Gus Bradley is under a lot of pressure this year, Peter. He has to produce at least a 500 record for him to keep his job in North Florida. I'm looking at him. He has to win games, period. I think that includes the preseason here. Now, Todd Bowles of the Jets, though he's only in his second year, he established himself as a good coach. So I think the pressure is off of him a little bit, coming especially into this particular game. So I think that Jacksonville will have a little more to play for, bring a little something extra, in this particular game. And so I like this. Now, it's currently at 2.5.
Yeah.
I would wait to see if you can maybe get a 3 with Jacksonville up to game time. So that would be my recommendation. But it should be noted that the total's at 36.5, and Jacksonville is 10-2 against the spread. The total is anywhere from 35.5 to 38.
That's interesting, Doug Upstone. This is one game that I have my eye on that I'm definitely going to wait to see what the line movement is and for late-breaking information, because Geno Smith might be playing with a chip on his shoulder, and the Jets, I feel, looking at the depth charts, have a pretty strong depth on defense, and that concerns me. I'm actually leaning Jets here. Are you concerned that Geno Smith is going to be playing this preseason with something to prove?
Well, here's my question. Do you think that Geno Smith's better than Chad Henne? That's really my question.
Yeah, you're right.
Okay,
that's a good point.
That's where we disagree.
Right, for sure.
I think Geno Smith is. He has a job. Good for him in the NFL, but beyond that, I'm not seeing why.
Okay, fair enough. Jacksonville is your first top underdog for preseason week one. Number two, Doug Upstone. Hit us with it.
We're going to go with a false favorite, and that's going to be the Atlanta Falcons. Now, when I look at Washington and Atlanta, I think Washington has the stronger overall roster in this particular case. Jay Gruden has actually, as we saw last year, they figured it out. His team bought into what he was doing. Whereas Dan Quinn, I think for Atlanta, I think he's kind of floating still. I'm not really sure what the players think of him. I'm not really sure about the situation. I have no problem taking the +3 with Washington and going against Atlanta in this spot.
That's what I was thinking as well. I also have concerns with Atlanta's depth on defense, just basically my preliminary research for that one. I'm definitely leaning Washington as well. All right, what's your third top underdog for NFL preseason week one, Doug?
We're going to go against the Kansas City Chiefs in this one on Saturday against Seattle. Now, Andy Reid has a long history of not giving a you-know-what about anything to do with the preseason other than getting his team prepared to win. He could care less about, obviously with point spreads, but he doesn't even concern himself with winning. He just tries to prepare his teams. This has been his MO all along when he was in Philadelphia and now also in Kansas City. And this is backed up by the fact that he's 4-13 as a home favorite in his career when giving 3 or less points. Now, Kansas City also has a long history, Peter, of not being in the same thing. Now, whether that be prior coaches or just not having much talent overall, but in their last, I think it's 55 games, they're 16-39 against the spread in the preseason if they're -3 to +3. Pete Carroll is a highly competitive coach. He always looks to try and win every possible game. I'll take Seattle and go against the Kansas City Chiefs -3.
Interesting. I think the backup for Seattle is Trevon Boykin, right? A quarterback?
Yes, it is.
Yeah,
Yep.
you believe in him. And also, and correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't KC go 4-0 in the preseason last year?
That was last year. Yes, yeah. I'm going over history. But 1 year does not make a difference
Right.
to me, Peter.
Yeah, that's
I'm looking
absolutely
for
correct.
history.
All right, Doug, and you're
Listen,
a believer in Trevon Boykin, at least for the preseason then?
I'm not worried so much about Trevon Boykin as I am looking at the two teams. Like I said, in preseason, I try to keep it very simple, Peter. I don't go into a lot of
Right.
the other stuff. I just try and look at how the coaches' tendencies are, and that for me has proven to be very profitable. And I'm going to stick with what I've done.
All right, Doug Upstone, sounds good. Really great to be doing these segments with you once again. We'll talk to you again next week for preseason week 2.
Absolutely, Peter. Look forward to it already.
Always on the go? Bet365 has one of the top mobile platforms in today's market. Sign up today and don't let your busy life keep you out of the game.